I, 33 years old, a single mother to a 6-year-old girl. I've raised my daughter all on my own. She was born from a one-night stand with a now former friend, 37, male. We never got together, and he refused to be involved in my pregnancy or my daughter's first 4 years of life. I was stressed out emotionally because it's a big change, but I never asked for child support or forced him to be involved. I have enough income to send my daughter to private school. I'm perfectly fine on my own. The issue started when he reappeared from wherever he went and decided he wanted visitation. He's not on my daughter's birth certificate. Father is listed as unknown. He wanted to have that amended. I said no, and that if he wants, the best he'll get is to meet her on outings with myself or my daughter's godparents. He agreed, but he's been constantly pressured into getting parental rights. Court already gave him a big fat no, unless he pays 4 years of child support, which with his income goes somewhere around $230,000 US. He hasn't paid a cent. My daughter doesn't even call him dad or recognize him as dad. She calls him Mr. I keep it very clean. I never bad talked to him, never made up stories. When she asked about her father, I used to say it was just the two of us. Even during court, the assigned child protective specialist's agent testified that my daughter had no affection or clear relationship with her biological father. Now, the main issue happens in a parent-teacher association meeting. He would say things like, "My family thinks," or "what is best for my family." I didn't agree with him, and I voiced my opinion by saying, "My daughter has different needs, and those are priorities." He was clearly angry. After the meeting, there was a moment for teachers and parents to mingle and just talk about how the kids are doing. One of the teachers approached me to apologize, saying she didn't know. My husband and I didn't like a project she was doing with the kids. I told her I had no husband and my daughter loved the project and wanted to be part of it. The teacher then told me that my former friend was going around talking like he's my husband and he represents the family. I saw red. I walked to him and very loudly told him we needed to talk in private. In the parking lot, I told him we were not a family and that he either will respect that I am the only one that can make decisions on my daughter's education or he won't be involved. He went on about being her biological father. Then I reminded him he had not paid a cent for the pregnancy, my daughter's needs, or even the private school my daughter is in. He hasn't tried to see my daughter since, which she doesn't mind at all. I asked her. I do feel a bit bad about what I said. Am I the a-hole? I wanted to add this because the private messages are driving me insane. He has the money to pay child support. He chose not to pay. He was never prohibited from being involved. He had my phone number. I sent him a picture and invited him to birthdays and other big celebrations. He never came. Some comments below. Why is he in a parent-teacher association meeting with you? Have you told the school that he can't pick her up? Not the a-hole. He decided to leave and did not support you during the pregnancy or the first 4 years of her life. He is not a parent. He might be the father, in the sense that he is the bio-parent, but he is not a father to you daughter. Original poster replied, he actually forced himself into the meeting. I wanted to give it a chance for him to be involved. I didn't expect him to act this way though. Somebody asked, and how exactly did he know the time, place? Original poster replied, the school has a public schedule on its website. He knows the school she attends, somebody said. And with him not even being on birth control, why didn't you just tell anyone, admin, teacher, etc., that he had no legal relationship with your child? Why didn't the teachers ask? How did the teachers not know he wasn't your husband? A private school has much fewer students. Haven't you met and talked to your kid's teacher? So many questions. Original poster replied, to be fair, I've kept my family situation very private. It's not good seeing where I live to be a single mother. Most people assume I'm either a widow or my husband is overseas. Admin knew, but I had no real time to correct him. Plus, I didn't want to make too big a scene. That's why I took it to the parking lot, somebody said. Info. Why is he at the PTA meetings? Or sounds like he has no legal rights to your child. Why not just have the school remove him? If it's a nice private school, he has no rights, and you foot the entire bill, then they should be more than happy to trespass him, rather than risk losing your money. Original poster replied, I've been trying to let him be involved. If he wants a relationship with my daughter, I'm okay with it. He has no legal rights, but I have no problem with him being part of her life. He just doesn't get to make decisions on things he's not paying for, like school. So here's the update. 8 days later. I'm going to preface this by saying my 6-year-old daughter's father, I'm going to call him Jeff, has never been my romantic partner. We had a one-night stand. I don't like people calling him my ex, since it makes it seem we had some kind of emotional attachment. He was never involved after I told him I was pregnant, and actually wanted me to terminate the pregnancy, but I decided to raise my child alone since I have enough money to raise her without child support. For the whole pregnancy and the first 4 years, Jeff was not in the picture. On my mother's recommendation, I did send him pictures and invited him to special events, but he always replied he had no interest in my daughter. 2 years ago, he reappeared and began demanding parental rights. When I didn't do what he wanted, he sued and was told no, he was not getting parental rights. He was given the offer to pay child support, and then we can revisit giving him actual rights, but he has refused. He has the money, much more than me, but he refuses. I still offered to let him see my daughter in a casual manner, no child support needed, with the agreement anything legal, medical, or educational will not involve him. He pushed the boundaries, and we had a fallout. After that, we didn't hear from him for almost 6 weeks before he called to meet for Christmas. After much discussion, I agreed to bring my daughter over on the condition my daughter's godparents could come. Thus, we went over for Christmas dinner, and finding out Jeff is married and had never told his family he had a child. It was great to be judged by a bunch of strangers. It was uncomfortable the whole time. I'm going to use fake names, but let's say my daughter's name is Katie. His wife kept calling my daughter Gabrielle, not the actual name she used, but it was that different to my daughter's name. The wife was also very physical, trying to pick up my daughter or parent her. I would block her or tell her to please let me deal with my child. The whole time, she pretty much ignored me, but Katie didn't seem nervous, so I decided to just bid my time. I hit my limit when my daughter said she needed the bathroom, and this stranger went, "Oh, Gabby, you need a potty? Let mommy change you." My daughter hasn't worn diapers in a while now, and she's more than capable of going alone to the bathroom. I immediately told her to stay away from my daughter and that we were leaving. The woman started wailing that I was kidnapping her baby girl and tried to lunge at me. Her in-laws got in the middle and held her, consoling her and saying that we weren't leaving and for her to calm down like she was the victim. At that point, I just glared at Jeff and told him he'd better explain or I would be calling the police. He asked me to speak in private in another room and that I could just leave my daughter with his parents. No way that would ever happen. Katie's godparents took her with them, despite the wife having a full meltdown. Jeff and I spoke outside, and he explained that he and his wife recently lost a daughter. I'm not going to give specific details on that. All I'll say, it was sudden and nobody's fault. And as I can only imagine, it had caused some psychological issues to his wife. Apparently, he had the brilliant idea that having Katie pass as their lost child would help his wife, without telling me. And that's why he wanted visitations and parental rights. He pleaded for me to leave my daughter with him for a little bit. I asked him what his plan was when his wife heals. His response was disgusting. "Well, I'll just send Katie back with you, and it will be just like before." I told him he was insane if he thought I would let him use my daughter like that. What his wife needs is therapy with a professional, not feeding her delusions. And I would not let that woman within miles from my daughter. He told me I was being cruel and didn't know the pain of losing a child. I agreed with him, but reminded Jeff that my priority is not his family, it's my child. What he and his family do to work through their grief has nothing to do with us. I also told him to call his lawyer because I am making sure he never has contact with my child. So that's what I'm bracing for. He's been blasting my phone since Christmas, but I can easily ignore him. My daughter and I are doing a small travel vacation. This isn't an update, just something I feel needs to be said. My daughter is set for life monetarily. She has trust, and I make really good money in my position, If she was 18 right now, I could put her through college without a loan. She doesn't need child support for quality of life. If I could get child support and never worry about her father trying something, I would be suing him in a heartbeat. But after talking to a lawyer and realizing the risk, I've taken the decision that child support or possible inheritance is not worth my child's safety. Safety is always first. Hey everyone, Happy New Year's. This isn't so much a real update as just letting people know we are home and safe. My daughter is spending the rest of her vacation with her godparents on another trip while I work on things. Moving might be something I'll be looking into, though that is a long-term plan considering all it takes. I won't share too many details on what my lawyer is going to be doing, but we are absolutely going to push for a restraining order. I might not post for some time, at least not until things settled. I do appreciate all the support and good advice. I'm taking a lot of it into account as I plan how to move forward. Let's see some comments. Somebody said, "Sounds like they live in Delulu land. You are 100% right to set these boundaries. Just do yourself a favor and make sure your lawyer knows what's up next week and be prepared to get that order of protection ready." Original poster replied, "He found out on the 26th. I sent him an email and he called me a few minutes after." Another comment, "Any chance he's dumb enough to text you any of the things he said? Would be nice to have a paper trail for the courts instead of just your word versus his." Original poster replied, "Oh, he has text some stuff. Not his whole brilliant idea, but enough to be creepy. Doesn't help, he doesn't use my daughter's name, but the name his wife was using." Somebody said, "You should probably get a restraining order, since I can definitely see him, his wife, or other family members trying to kidnap your daughter. I would show pictures to her school and other caretakers and let them know the situation. Your daughter's sperm donor is dealing with some grief issues of his own, and like his wife has gone off the deep end. You need to get protection in place as soon as possible, since most children are kidnapped by their family." Original poster replied, "We're planning for my daughter to stay for a little while with her godparents. They can drop her and pick her at school while I deal with the legal stuff." Absolutely going for a restraining order. Hey everyone, I decided to post a last update since I will be going full silent for a long period. For those that didn't know, I'm right now dealing with my daughter's father and his delusion. He wants to use my daughter as a therapy doll for his wife who recently lost a child. A lot of people were worried for my daughter and me, and I truly appreciate it. We're both safe. She's currently having a great vacation with her godparents, and I'm currently making my own arrangements to move on. My lawyer is working hard on keeping everything in order. I know a cease and desist was his first action, and we are going for no contact. He says we have a solid case, and hopefully this will be resolved relatively fast, and by that, I mean a year or two. We did get a temporary restraining order. It's only until our first court date, but after it could be extended. I haven't had direct contact with Jeff. He lawyered up too, and tried to send a threat to take full custody. My lawyer laughed at it, since his reasoning was parental alienation. Except I have proof I tried for years to have him involved. Apparently, turning in a few emails showing my attempts was enough to get them to change parental alienation to a different reasoning. My lawyer is not worried, in all honesty. For now, I've decided after much thinking that moving is going to be necessary. It won't be something I can do on a whim, but I'll be looking into new houses within the month to hopefully move some time this year. School will remain the same, but we will be speaking to the admin to make sure only certain people can pick her up. And part of that decision has been to hire a private driver. He's someone I absolutely trust and has worked for relatives in the past, so I'm very comfortable with the idea, and so is my daughter. Now I just have to make sure they don't go for fast food every day after school. Things, in all honesty, are not that scary right now. I have a good lawyer, good evidence, and my little girl is happy and healthy, so I'm just going to focus on working on things little by little. Because of the legal proceedings, I don't think I'll be posting any updates anytime soon. And to those sending me private messages telling me I'm horrible for keeping my daughter from her father, or telling me I shouldn't have had her in the first place, Please kindly speak to the void. I'm too busy. Some comments below. Oh my goodness. I just went back and read your post, and I got chills and was terrified for you and your daughter. Yes, his wife needs therapy. But he is disgusting for wanting to use your daughter that way and then send her back when his wife heals, and it would be as before. Just wow. He does not deserve any time with your daughter. I'm happy that you guys are safe and healthy. Right? Can you imagine if he borrowed Katie? She would be so messed up mentally by how that woman would treat her and use a different name. Oh my ghost, you're one smart, amazing, strong woman. Trying to raise her daughter and do everything to keep her safe, etc., worrying about worst-case scenario possibilities. I had a thought as I was reading this update. I am also so glad the father went no contact from the beginning. I can't begin to imagine if he had some sort of involvement, custody, and had some sort of rights. You are Mother of the Year. Wishing you and your daughter the best dealing with this nightmare. Hugs. I am so relieved to hear that things are working out in your favor. That little girl is so lucky to have such a fierce mama bear. You are doing what is right for your daughter, and that is all that matters. Forget about negative, small-minded people. Keep moving forward, and I hope you both have a terrific year. May I suggest putting your daughter and you in a self-defiance class? Hopefully it will never be needed, but knowing that you know what to do in a dangerous situation is very empowering. New update 3 months after. I had no intentions to do a new post, but today absolutely took the cake. To those that don't know, my daughter was born from a one-night stand with Jeff. We were never romantically involved. It was a simple one-night stand and we did use contraceptives, but they failed. It happens. A few months ago, Jeff went full psycho and tried to convince me to leave my daughter with him so she could serve as a replacement child for his wife, who recently lost their infant daughter. I refused, and right now we're in the middle of some legal issues. Now for today, I thankfully didn't deal with Jeff. Instead, he sent a priest to harass me at work. I'm going to be very blunt. I am completely detached from religion. I'm not an atheist. I just don't really like the idea of the Catholic Church. That's the leading religion in my home country. I respect it, and most of my family is Catholic, so I have a detached respect for church officials. Today, I was doing some paperwork when I got a call about a priest asking for me. I didn't have any meetings scheduled, and a lot of times we get visits from clergy asking for donations or participation in events, so I figured that was it. I told the secretary to let him in, and things at first seemed rather polite. Shake hands, asking how things were. The usual chit-chat. Then, the priest began talking about how it had come to his attention that I was a single woman with a child, and that apparently I lived a life of debauchery and hate. His words. I was taken aback, and agreed I was a single mother, but that I didn't see how I lived in debauchery and hate. The priest then went on about how he knew my daughter is prohibited from spending time with her father, and that I'm constantly sleeping around with men instead of living a godly life. How he was worried, and thought it would be best. I considered giving my daughter a chance to live with a proper family, rather than see me sell myself. Angry was an understatement. I did keep it civil, simply because I was at work, and I had no intentions of screaming at a religious man at work. I simply told him that my daughter was fine with me. She lived a safe and happy life. My personal affairs were my own, and that I had no intentions of sending her to another household. I told him that if there was nothing else, he should probably leave as I had other things to attend to. He then shows his hand, and that's how I know it was Jeff's doing. The priest told me he didn't think my daughter would be a happy child with me, but her father was well respected in his church, and he knew he would raise a proper Christian lady. At that, I laughed and simply said no. I once again recommended he left, and if he didn't, I would be calling security. He left saying he would try to speak to me again when I'm not being hysterical. I told my secretary and our security not to let him into my office again, and I called my lawyer. I don't have audio, but we do have security feed from him walking into my office. Thank you again to everyone sending well wishes in my previous post. We are still working on that move. But school is back, and she's loving it. We still have that temporary restraining order against Jeff and his wife, and school officials know it. Okay, let's move to the comment section. Somebody said, I'm sorry, I feel compelled. Firstly, I'm not questioning your decision. You're happy. I wouldn't want to change that. But abortion, where it's legal and safe anyway, is much less harmful to you health-wise. The best pregnancy does permanent harm, but abortion does not do permanent harm unless it's messed up. So you saying the health risks of abortion was, compared to any pregnancy? Nope. That's all. I wish you every joy in life with your daughter and send you all the good thoughts. Original poster replied, Hey, just wanted to respond to this real quick. While you are correct in general terms, every pregnancy is as unique as every woman's health. I have certain conditions that put me at a higher risk for certain complications had I gone with an abortion, regardless of where I went to get it, legal or not. My main risk, not the only risk for the record, was a high chance of losing my ability to have children. While it was never really in my original plans, I wanted to keep the options open. Another risk was related to the fact of a history of depression in my family. Like it or not, an abortion can have negative effects on a woman's mental stability. That's not to say I do not support abortions when it's safe and done for the right reason. I'm big on the pro-choice mentality. Therein lies my decision too. It was my choice to have my daughter, and I don't regret it. I would never shame a woman for taking a different decision to me. Someone said, file a police report for harassment by the priest. Ask your lawyer to write a letter stating that if he tries to harass you again, you will be forced to seek legal action. Priest is lucky he didn't get someone like me. My mouth would have more than implied his child-molesting self needed not concern himself with my child. Then I would have asked how many cases his church had, then his region, and so on. And that his concern is better served there. Oh man, am I angry for you. Original poster replied, we're making a complaint to church leadership here. Police won't do anything because of how religion is viewed, so just gonna jump over them.